Remember Essential, the company that made a super clean phone with a basically stock version of Android and a modular accessory system that never really took off? Well, that company is dead, but last week a former employee revealed two phones that the team was working on prior to its closure. The first, called the PH2, was going to be a successor to the original Essential phone. It had a matte finish on the back and also IP68 water resistance. It was apparently killed because Andy Rubin, the so-called father of Android and also the founder of Essential, wanted to prioritize a smart home range instead that also never made it to market. Now the second device was called the PH3. That was going to be dramatically cheaper, have a triple camera system on the back, and, based on these renders, seemingly dropped the modular accessories. Neither device will ever come out. They've got me thinking about some of the other phones that we definitely knew were in development but never saw the light of day. The phones that were sent to the mobile graveyard before anyone had a chance to buy them. Take the LG GW990, a phone that used an Intel Atom processor and a Linux-based operating system called Moblin. It was announced at CES 2010 and promised netbook performance in your pocket. Moblin then merged with Nokia's Maemo in something called MeeGo OS. The phone was then supposed to ship with that operating system, but it never happened. By April, Phone Arena had learned that the phone was actually just a concept and would never be released. 2 months later, we found out that Emblaze Mobile was killing the first Else, a bizarrely named handset that ran Else Intuition OS, an ambitious spin on the Access Linux platform. The company thought it could take on iOS and Android, and we were certainly intrigued by its Minority Report and Fifth Element inspired interface. By the time the phone was ready though, Google and Apple had released their respective app stores. In its heart of hearts, Emblaze Mobile knew that it was never going to be able to compete with either company. That same year we got the HP Pre 3. Now this phone did come out in the UK, but the day after its release, HP announced that it was discontinuing all WebOS products, including the Pre 3. It was some heartbreaking news for Palm fans. So while the phone did come out, it was never officially released in the US, and for that reason, it probably deserves at least a small shout out here. MeeGo, however, did resurface through the Nokia N9 and the developer-focused Nokia N950. But then Nokia switched to Windows Phone and the rest, well, you know the rest. In 2012 though, a Nokia blog revealed images of a dead N9 successor called the Nokia Lauter. Now, the big deal here was that it had a slide-out keyboard, kind of similar to the N950. The internals, though, were supposedly identical to the N9, and the final retail models would have been a singular colour rather than this black and magenta combo that you see here. That same year, BlackBerry was preparing its BB10 operating system. The company apparently had two phones in the works called the Blackberry Colt and Milan that never saw the light of day. Now the Colt was going to be a touchscreen-only device, whilst the Milan was going to have a slide-out QWERTY keyboard. Instead, we got two phones, the Q10, which had a permanent physical keyboard, and the Z10, which had been previously codenamed the BlackBerry London. So what happened to the Colt and Milan? Well, we're not really sure. The only people who would know are the executives who were working for BlackBerry at the time. By this point, crowdfunding had really blown up online, and we'd already seen projects like the Ouya microconsole and the original Pebble smartwatch. So, unsurprisingly, a whole bunch of smartphone companies tried to jump on the bandwagon. Some, like the bamboo-covered Ad Zero, were rejected by Kickstarter, and we never really heard anything from them again. But then in 2013, we got the Abunto Edge, a really ambitious smartphone that promised the full Ubuntu desktop operating system, as well as Android. So Canonical pitched this on Indiegogo with a 32 million crowdfunding target. In the first few days, things were pretty positive, but then momentum started to slow down. The company tried dropping the price of the phone a couple of times, but it wasn't enough to salvage that lost momentum, and in the end, the company fell woefully short of its target. There was also the Puzzle Phone, a finished device that had a spine, a brain, and a heart that you could upgrade and repair individually. One of my personal favourites though was the Runcible, a strange circular device that originally ran Mozilla's Firefox OS platform. By the time it reached Indiegogo though, the company had switched to an open source version of Android called Bunny OS? I'm not sure on the pronunciation, take your pick there. At the time of recording though, neither device has reached backers. While we're talking about crowdfunding, I should probably mention the Meizu Zero, which was pitched as the world's first holeless phone on Indiegogo a little over a year ago. The whole thing failed miserably, and later Meizu CEO Jack Wong said the whole thing was just a marketing stunt anyway. I get that sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo are a great way to grab eyeballs, but maybe don't use either platform unless you've really thought through the product. Finally, let's talk about Project Ara. The pitch was a truly modular smartphone with an exoskeleton and Lego-like pieces that could be swapped out and upgraded on the fly. That means you could customize it temporarily, say for a weekend hike, or just build up your dream daily driver piece by piece. It was a concept originally developed by a company called PhoneBlocks that caught the attention of Motorola, which was then bought by Google, before Google then sold off most of Motorola. But anyway, we did get to see some prototypes, but in 2016, Google decided to kill the project dead. And that's a real shame, although Project Ara did encourage some other companies to at least experiment with the format, just like the Essential phone that we talked about at the beginning. As you might have guessed, I'm shooting this in my very unimpressive apartment. All of Engadget's editors are working from home at the moment, and in the UK, where I live, there's currently a nationwide lockdown. But we still want to keep making videos and delivering you coverage of the technology industry, so please be patient with us as we figure all of this out, and just thank you so much. Honestly, every view and encouraging comment means the world to us. Thanks, and stay safe.